It's another 5-minute Monday mindset with Coach Maggie. And I just want to continue the conversation that we started last week. I've mentioned this book that I've been reading, Winning the War in Your Mind. And again, sometimes I'm sure you may be thinking, why does it matter? But listen carefully because it does matter. And I just want to go ahead and read it right out of the book. It says, one reason we need to be extra attentive to the decisions that we make is that a lot of the thoughts that happen to us, we don't actually choose. A lot of times we can bring guilt on ourselves when we think things and we think, oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. If people could read my mind. But again, these are like arrows that are shot at us. It says studies reveal that we are bombarded by 500 unintentional and intrusive thoughts a day. So these are not thoughts you welcome. Like, oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, I wonder what I'm going to be doing. All these different things that we purposely think about. These are unintentional things that pop into our minds. That's why sometimes, again, we'll have a thought that it's like, where did that come from? It says each unwanted thought lasts about 14 seconds. So it's pretty quick. But he says, do the math. That's almost 2 hours of these thoughts that we did not invite, that we do not want. And psychologists call this the law of exposure. It says the law of exposure says that the mind absorbs. So think of a sponge. The mind absorbs and reflects what it is exposed to the most. Think about, I remember growing up, and my kids did too, the age of Saturday morning cartoons. And what are in between the sections or the episodes? Commercials. And the whole idea was exposing our kids to things. Think about TV even now, adult TV. Commercials for food, commercials for some movie that's probably R-rated, commercials for all these things, people being sick. Whatever our mind is exposed to the most, then our brain starts to pulling things. Okay, let's think about that. And then, because we've opened the door to certain things, then we get those uninvited things, those intrusive things, those things that we didn't watch, we don't want to think about. But again, if you're innocently watching a show and there are ads for some R-rated movie and there's some scene that's like, oh my goodness, you just want to cover your eyes. Something has been planted in your brain. And if you don't do anything else, if nothing else comes along, then there's a good chance you're probably going to forget about that. But if on the other hand, you continue to watch that show and then other scenes come up and other things, maybe it's violence, maybe it's people eating. Again, think of all those commercials. Look how often that you're watching and they're showing pizza and beer, couples out drinking wine. Suddenly you get the urge. You go to the refrigerator. Suddenly you're thinking, maybe I'll go make some popcorn. Maybe I'm going to go grab those chips. What our minds are exposed to repeatedly, that's where, even though it was unintentional, that's where we will find ourselves being attracted to those areas. And the scary thing is, in the beginning, it might be one of those like, no, I don't want to see that. But if it's done enough, then it's like we get desensitized. And that's where I think people get into pornography. I think that's where people get into a lot of things. In the beginning, it was oh my goodness. And then over time, it's actually almost something that we welcome. So again, we've got to protect our mind because actions follow. And like I said, with food, if we see enough of those commercials, all of a sudden our brain says, you're hungry, when you're not hungry. You just want something. And you see another commercial, and pretty soon action takes place. You get up, you go make that microwave popcorn. You get up, you go look in the cabinet to see what you can find. You go to the freezer and you find that ice cream that you've been saving for company. But now all of a sudden you want it. Our minds, we have to guard. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that says to guard your mind. Because as we think, that's who we become. And it works in all realms. These are the negative sides. But if we flip it, if we think on, I can do this. Yes, this is a challenging time, but I can do this. Yes, maybe your marriage is in turmoil. Maybe you're in a relationship that's in turmoil. Maybe you're having some issues with a kid, a neighbor, whatever. But we can also look for ways to remedy. We can talk and dwell on those things. How can I change the situation? How can I improve my financial situation? How can I turn things around in my home? When we start, again, thinking, purposely, intentionally thinking about those things, then all of a sudden we begin to see answers. All of a sudden God begins to give us downloads and we think, maybe I'll try this. Guard your mind. It is often going in so many directions. What is it? It talks about 500 unintentional thoughts a day. That's the unintentional. Then there's the things that we choose to think about. We are bombarded by thousands of thoughts a day. We have a big impact. Yes, there are those that are uninvited, but you know what? Just like you would do with an uninvited guest, someone that's coming to harm you, you close the door, you lock the door, you protect your home. And we have to do the same thing. We have to guard our minds, protect our minds. Do not allow yourself to dwell on what that coworker did to you, what that person said to you. We can allow those thoughts to just brew. It starts as that one little thought. And then we find ourselves, yeah, I can't believe she did that. Oh my goodness, why is he always doing that? Or we can shut the door, we can slam the door and say, not gonna happen today. So again, guard the mind, protect it. It's an amazing opportunity to change your future. And that's the whole thing this book is about. It can spiral out of control or it can go the other way. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Is this an area that you find yourself having to continually come back to? Guard your mind. Go to God in prayer and ask him to help you. Take care. Come back this week. And I still have my program. This is the last week. This is the last week of March. I'll put a link, and it's eating, learning healthy habits in 4 weeks. It's about eating, but again, it also talks about reframing how we think. So food, how we think, movement into our lives. And then the last part is how do we make those things actually become habits, not just here today and gone tomorrow. So I will drop a link, and you take care. God bless.